Hey everyone. I don't know about you, but right now I'm feeling pretty wondrous, you know? I'm in a sort of ancient history kind of mood, so hey, I know. Let's talk about the 7 wonders of the ancient world. So, in the 4th century BC, Alexander III of Macedon, known more commonly by his stage name Alexander the Great, decides that he wants to expand his empire. So he starts just laying conquest to a ton of places, you know, as you do. Not only does this lengthy military campaign result in the Macedonian Empire becoming one of the largest empires in recorded history, spreading Greek culture across the Middle East, but it also gives Greek travelers access to the civilizations of Egypt, Persia, and Babylon, among others. Now, many of these travelers become just utterly captivated by the various architectural marvels they witness in these faraway lands, and begin writing lists of the very best ones that they see. Among these writers were Herodotus, Antipater of Sidon, Callimachus of Cyrene, Strabo, and Diodorus Siculus. Whew, such cool names, man. Anyway, between you and me, there were more than 7 wonders talked about in these lists. For example, the walls of Babylon, so thick that chariot races were held on them, or the Ishtar Gate, also of Babylon, the front of which was excavated in the early 20th century and reconstructed in the Pergamon Museum in Berlin. However, the 7 we are about to discuss are considered the traditional, definitive, canonical 7 wonders of the ancient world, which to this day remain iconic symbols of human ingenuity and, of course, curiosity. So let's get into them, starting with the Great Pyramid of Giza is unique for 2 reasons, being by far the oldest of the 7 wonders, while also being the only wonder which still stands today. Built by the ancient Egyptians around 2570 BC, the Great Pyramid was constructed as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu. Standing 18.4 kilometers from modern-day Cairo, it originally rose to a height of 146.5 meters, making it the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years. Today, due to erosion, it stands at only 138.8 meters, which is still pretty good. The Great Pyramid was originally covered in smooth white limestone casing stones, some of which can still be seen at its base, and if you look at pictures of how the thing used to look, yeah, you can sort of see why some people believed it was built by aliens. However, according to graves discovered near the pyramid in 1990, it was not built by aliens, nor slaves, which was the popular belief for a long time, but paid workers. It is widely believed that the Great Pyramid's construction spanned around 20 years, with 2.3 million blocks averaging 2.5 tons, each being transported, likely via the Nile during its flood season, and moved into place using levers and ramps. Inside the pyramid, there are 3 known chambers: the unfinished lower chamber cut into the bedrock, the Queen's chamber, and the King's chamber higher up within the structure. The Great Pyramid is unique among Egyptian pyramids for having 2 passages, one leading upwards and another leading downwards. Part of the iconic Giza necropolis, the complex also includes both the Pyramid of Khafre and the Pyramid of Menkore, built for Pharaoh Khufu's son and grandson respectively, 3 smaller pyramids for Khufu's wives, and of course the Great Sphinx. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon are believed to have been constructed around 600 BC by King Nebuchadnezzar II. According to ancient accounts, the gardens were built to please his homesick wife, Amytis of Media, who longed for the green hills and valleys of her homeland. Located in the city of Babylon near present-day Baghdad in Iraq, the gardens are said to have featured an astonishing array of trees, shrubs, and vines, all arranged on a series of ascending terraces that resembled a green mountain. Ancient writers like Strabo and Philo of Byzantium describe a complex irrigation system that transported water from the Euphrates River to the garden's highest terraces. This system likely involved a combination of pumps and water wheels, allowing for the lush vegetation to thrive in the dry Mesopotamian climate. The gardens were believed to have been around 75 feet high, supported by stone columns and vaults, creating an artificial paradise of greenery and flora. However, and I apologize for spoiling the party, Unfortunately, the actual existence of the Hanging Gardens remains a topic of debate among scholars, despite the detailed descriptions from ancient historians. Unlike all of the other wonders, no definitive archaeological evidence has been found to confirm their location or structure. It is possible that evidence exists beneath the Euphrates River, but it unfortunately cannot be excavated safely, at least not at the moment. The fate of the Hanging Gardens is also shrouded in mystery. However, if they did exist, they are believed to have been destroyed by a series of earthquakes sometime after the 1st century AD, which would have caused the elaborate irrigation systems and terraces to collapse. The statue of Zeus at Olympia was crafted by the renowned Greek sculptor Phidias around 435 BC. Standing in the temple of Zeus in Olympia, Greece, this colossal statue was dedicated to the king of the Greek gods, and became a symbol of divine majesty and artistic excellence. The statue was about 12 meters tall, seated on an elaborate throne, and made of ivory and gold-plated bronze, creating a strikingly majestic appearance. Phidias, who also created the statue of Athena Parthenos in Athens, designed the statue with meticulous detail. Zeus was depicted seating on a grand throne adorned with intricate carvings, including mythological scenes and figures. In his right hand, he held a small statue of Nike, the goddess of victory, and in his left hand, a scepter topped with an eagle. The robe and sandals of Zeus were made from gold, and his hair and beard were supposedly carved with exceptional realism. The throne was inlaid with ebony, ivory, gold, and precious stones, adding to the statue's splendor. The fate of the statue of Zeus remains uncertain. Some argue that the statue was destroyed along with the temple it resided in around 426 AD. However, most scholars nowadays believe that prior to the Temple of Zeus's destruction, the statue was actually moved to Constantinople, the city now called Istanbul, to protect it from invading barbarians, eventually perishing to earthquakes or fire sometime during the 5th or 6th century. The Temple of Artemis, built around 550 BC, was a grand tribute to Artemis, the Greek goddess of the hunt, wilderness, and fertility. Located in the ancient city of Ephesus, in present-day Turkey, the temple was renowned for its immense size and ornate beauty. It was constructed by the Lydian king Colossus, and designed by the Cretan architect Chrysophron and his son Metagenes. The temple was an architectural marvel, measuring approximately 115 meters long and 55 meters wide, with more than 100 marble columns, each standing about 18 meters high. The structure was lavishly adorned with intricate sculptures and reliefs, depicting various scenes from Greek mythology. The temple housed a magnificent statue of Artemis, made of gold, silver, and ebony, which was a central feature of the worship at the site. The Temple of Artemis had a tumultuous history, facing destruction and rebuilding multiple times. The original, less grandiose temple was destroyed by a flood in the 7th century BC and was rebuilt in the 6th. The second was allegedly burnt down in 356 BC by an arsonist named Herostratus, who sought fame through its destruction. For this outrage, the Ephesians sentenced the perpetrator to death and forbade anyone from mentioning his name ever again. Although clearly that didn't work, as we still know his name today. And nowadays many historians consider Herostratus to have perhaps been a pawn of the priesthood, who may have orchestrated the temple's destruction to address its sinking foundations while preserving its sacred location. In Greek and Roman historical tradition, the temple's destruction coincided with the birth of Alexander the Great, whose wishes for the temple to be rebuilt a third time were granted after his death. It was this most magnificent version of the Temple of Artemis which was commemorated as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Antipater of Sidon was particularly impressed by the temple, claiming it to be the most remarkable of the wonders. However, the Temple of Artemis faced its final demise in 262 AD, when it was destroyed by the Goths during a raid. Over time, the temple's ruins were gradually dismantled, and its stones were repurposed for other buildings. Today, only a single column and a few remnants of the foundation remain at the site, serving as a testament to the temple's former grandeur. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus, built around 350 BC, was a grand tomb constructed for Mausolus, the Persian satrap of Caria, and his wife Artemisia. Located in the city of Halicarnassus in present-day Bodrum, Turkey, the mausoleum was renowned for its stunning architecture and artistic sculptures. Designed by Greek architects Satrios and Pytheas, the structure stood approximately 45 meters high, combining Greek, Egyptian, and Lycian architectural elements. The mausoleum's most striking feature was its impressive tiered structure. The base was a large rectangular platform, above which stood 36 columns. These columns supported a pyramid-shaped roof, which was crowned by a massive statue of Mausolus and Artemisia riding a chariot. The four sides of the massive structure were decorated with sculptural reliefs by four famous Greek sculptors: Leocharis, Bryaxis, Scopas, and Timotheus. These sculptures depicted various scenes from Greek mythology, battles, and ceremonial processions, showcasing the artistic excellence of the period. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus stood for nearly 1,600 years, surviving numerous earthquakes and invasions, and becoming the second longest surviving of the Seven Wonders after the Great Pyramid of Giza. However, it was ultimately destroyed by a series of earthquakes in the 13th century AD. It's always the earthquakes, man. The remaining ruins were later dismantled by the Knights of St. John of Rhodes, who used the stones to build their castle in Bodrum. The term mausoleum itself has become synonymous with grand tombs, reflecting the lasting impact of this architectural marvel on the world. The Colossus of Rhodes, constructed between 292 and 280 BC, was a monumental statue that stood at the entrance of the harbour of the island of Rhodes in Greece. This towering figure was built to celebrate the island's victory over the Macedonian siege led by Demetrius in 305 BC. Designed by the sculptor Charles of Lindos, the statue depicted the sun god Helios and was considered one of the tallest statues of the ancient world, standing approximately 33 meters high. Crafted from bronze plates over an iron framework, the Colossus was both an artistic and engineering marvel. It was said to have been positioned with 1 foot on each side of the harbour entrance, although this depiction is debated and likely exaggerated. Consequently, most modern portrayals depict the statue with a more conventional stance. But regardless, the Colossus of Rhodes was an impressive sight for incoming ships, symbolising the resilience and ingenuity of the Rhodians. Tragically, however, the Colossus stood for only 54 years before it was destroyed by, you guessed it, a powerful earthquake in 226 BC. The statue broke at its weakest point, the knees, and fell over onto the land. Despite various offers to rebuild it, the Rhodians chose to leave the remains as they were, partly due to an oracle's advice. The fallen pieces lay in place for over 800 years, becoming a tourist attraction in their own right, until they were eventually sold off as scrap metal by invading Arab forces in 654 AD. Due to the Colossus's short lifespan of 54 years, it's likely that all 7 wonders of the ancient world stood simultaneously for no more than a few decades. The Lighthouse of Alexandria, also known as the Pharos of Alexandria, served as a beacon for sailors navigating the treacherous waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Constructed between 280 and 247 BC on the small island of Pharos off the coast of Alexandria, Egypt, the lighthouse stood approximately 100 to 130 meters tall, making it one of the tallest structures of its time. The lighthouse was constructed in 3 stages: a square base, a cylindrical middle section, and a smaller circular tower at the top. At its pinnacle stood a statue, often believed to be Zeus or Poseidon, who watched over the sea. The structure was built using large blocks of light-coloured stone, and featured an internal ramp or spiral staircase leading to the beacon at the top. This beacon, a fire that was maintained day and night, was reflected by a polished bronze mirror, projecting light far out to sea and making it visible for miles. The Lighthouse of Alexandria was not only a marvel of engineering, but also an essential tool for maritime navigation. For centuries, it guided countless sailors safely to the bustling port of Alexandria, one of the most important trade hubs of the ancient world. However, despite its significance, the lighthouse suffered from several earthquakes between the 10th and 14th centuries, which led to its gradual destruction. By 1480, much of its ruins had been used to build the citadel of Quatbay on the same site. Although the lighthouse no longer stands, its name, Pharos, has become the root word for lighthouse in many languages, reflecting its lasting influence on maritime history. And there you have it, my friends, the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And as always, be kind, be strong, be curious.